Hey y'all, I've just been thinking about how the internet messes with our self-image like a lot. I think something about being on camera used to be a very like organic experience because you were not necessarily trying to be built into an aesthetic that's already been formed. So I think it was a lot easier to just like come in as you are with like a t-shirt and like your hair and glasses. Like I feel like that's a normal like person. Like this is how I normally look. But I think something about being on camera and being on the internet, you kind of have to create an identity around who you actually are. It's like this like false self. It probably will like make sense to a lot of people, but especially if you're like a black person on the internet is like a very different thing. I haven't had any protective style or anything on my hair. I'm also trying to like I've never been a wig person, mostly because I'm a lazy person, but also like I just have found that like the more protective style I have on my head or something like that, I basically end up have like this weird dysmorphia thing. Dysmorphia, is that what it's like? Oh yeah, it is dysmorphia. Internet has created this like false sense of like self, and like body dysmorphia is like has gotten really worse for like a lot of people, especially since COVID. I think we're spending a lot of time just like looking at ourselves like this, like on Zoom calls, like especially if you have worked remotely, you know what I'm talking about. But something that I just been thinking about is like how I think about myself as I'm like aging also, like is so interesting, like all these filters like face flattening, face smoothing features that are like readily available on like these new cameras like that are sophisticated is really messing with our self-image. And so even when I take a photo now, I'd be taking like I don't know 10 photos, right? And out of those 10 maybe I'll like one or two. Nothing is wrong with the other 8, but it's like something about like how I thought about my self-image is basically is not fitting with how I am seeing myself in that photo. Like taking a photo is such a luxury, and just like capturing that memory is like significant. And like so one of the things that I do in my life is like I don't delete photos because my relationship with that photo actually improves when time passes. Like a photo I hated a year ago, I was like, oh, I look ugly, whatever, or like it doesn't look like me, even though it's me. I think it has created this like, what is it, like the internet face? Like I think what's her name, Michaela, the TikToker makeup person was being accused of like not looking like herself. Nobody looks like themselves. I think there's this like pressure to look a specific way, and so even when you are posting these like really casual videos, people are like they're policing themselves. I think we're policing ourselves to a level that's very, very, I don't know, like abnormal, because it feels like it's very voyeuristic and people are judging you and all these things, and people are gonna comment on your appearance. There was this video that got posted on TikTok like years ago when I was still on TikTok. Someone was like made a comment about this girl. She should wear like those skim like fits or whatever because like her body looked like her body. And we're so hyper aware to a level that it makes me sick. It makes me sick. And I have been trying hard to come on camera without like getting done up, because I think it's like these little conditioning that fucks up with our brain. I don't know, like I have friends that I take pictures of them because I love taking pictures of my friends, and they're like, I hate this picture of myself. I hate, like they've never liked the photo that I've taken of them. And I think that has become more and more in the last few years as we have just gotten really comfortable with like making all these reels and seeing ourselves online and all of these things. We notice our flaws and the normal appearance of ourselves, like we be worrying about it in a way that feels really hyper obsessive. I just been thinking a lot about how, you know, like looks maxing, all of these things are just like men's version of like what women have been feeling for a very long time. I don't think this is anything new, not to even gender it and create a binary. It's coded very differently. Like it's like this masculine version of like body dysmorphia, but I've noticed that like even the men in my life have been having, there has been like an increasing amount of men talking about their appearances and talking about the flaws in their appearance. And I think that's really interesting, and I do think it's a side effect of the internet, and it's a symptom of us spending so much time of ourselves on the internet. Oh, will this be posted, will this be posted? As someone who's like a long time archivist, I take photos, videos, audio, memories of things because I want to capture them as they are and kind of keep memory, and like kind of hold like a piece of these fragments as they are moving through time. But I think that has become a lot harder because people are just so hyper actively policing how they look and who's going to see this and how that makes them look. I was this is kind of like tangential, but I was talking to my friend about like how minimalism and this like not really playing around and expressing with different colors and stuff. I'm looking at the time because I have a meeting in 20 minutes. Is sort of like a symptom of like, it's like a recession indicator of like identity loss and like this like weird flattening of people to look the same. And I don't know, like I don't have a ton of evidence, but like with the rise of authoritarianism, with the rise of like policing, like in the country and in the world and the way that we like whatever, I feel like that transitions to how we police each other too. Like a friend of mine sent me this really cool academic paper. I'll put it up. It's called like Seeing and Watching. And it is basically how we have taken surveillance methods from the state and empire into how we are policing each other and how we're creating infrastructure within our neighborhood, within our community, how we're so concerned about like how other people show up and are perceived and stuff like that. And that kind of brings us to people like thinking like everything is cringe, and people thinking like, oh, that's so performative. Everybody just policing every minuscule thing everybody does. I do feel like this is, again, like this is my opinion, but like, I mean, everything I say on my channel is my opinion, but I do feel like this is another side effect of surveillance culture, like thinking that we're being watched all the time. I think that really fucking messes with our mental state. And I think like we kind of think about surveillance as something that is like external to ours. But I talked about this on my channel, like people really being critical of like what other people read, what other people listen to, like how other people dress even, or how other people style their hair, what kind of jewelry they buy. Like it just says something about you. Every purchase, everything you have on you says something about you. And I feel like we have really like this like trickle down of surveillance that is so normalized in the state, in the churches, has really been brought to the community, like within our communities, and like it's really messing with our with our core identity. And I also wanted to make like a point of like just coming on with like no makeup, blah 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 blah, like because it's not a revolutionary thing, but like it feels revolutionary to come on this website just looking like a normal person. The thing is, like, also what I've been attracted to in the last few months, like I want to say like even like over a year, has been watching like channels that have like less than 2,000, 1,000 people watching them. And they're like normal people going through normal stuff, like a single mother like living through her life, or a teacher that works in Chicago. Like stuff like that is what I'm really attracted to these days, because I just feel like a lot of us are like really sick of like influencers. There's also this like adjacent thing that exists, which is that like the people that are that are trying to live outside of like influencers, but they're like still, to me, like they seem like a personified ideal of what we imagine like as someone who's authentic, rather, because to me that still feels like performance. I've been watching a lot of like what's in my bag videos, because that used to be like my favorite shit to watch on YouTube, and now it feels significantly curated. Like, why do they feel so curated? Oh, like, what bag are they holding? Okay, if they have like, I don't know, Paper Republic or like a Filofax planner, that says something about their identity. If they have this lip gloss and like this, you know, Korean skincare like sunscreen, it says something about them. Like, everybody is kind of creating a uniform identity in a way that feels like we're all being watched. It's really difficult to find people that are not curated even on this website. On this website that is known to be a very uncurated, like very like human website, everybody's kind of creating a uniform identity around like whimsy and like being whimsical and like, oh my gosh, guys, like I have this chain thing I got from Paris. Like, everybody's trying to be interesting and kind of find an identity within items and things. I don't know. I kind of had to sit with that because I also found that within myself, because I would be like, oh, like, you know, this charm or whatever, I bought it from this country and it says something about me, but it really doesn't. I just happen to have the resource to go to this country, and now somehow it says something about me, like being a well-traveled person who has this specific identity. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it still feels incredibly inauthentic because I don't know if that person's identity is necessarily cemented, but by what they buy. It's like consumerism is kind of building an identity for us, and that is kind of coming from this like being surveilled and watched all the time, especially when you are on this website or like when you are on Instagram or something. It just feels like everybody's life is aesthetic, and now the new rise of content that I've been watching is like people kind of saying like a normal life, and it's literally just someone like cooking, and we're normalizing and bringing back uncurated lives because a lot of people are kind of thirsting for that, like, you know, a bit more. My friend and I were talking about this, how like everything is commodified under capitalism to a level that is actually really, really scary. There is this group in our city that does like dance parties and stuff like that. And we went to a few of the dance parties a few years ago, and it was really nice. And then we went to the last one that we went to, like a New Year's Eve party. It was one of the most like one of the worst experiences ever, like top 3 for sure. Like, the music was bad, the security guards were like very, very unhelpful, and very like, it just was not the experience that they have, like this community based small group of people coming together to have like really good music, really good DJs, like rotated. Like, it wasn't feeling that. It kind of was like leaving that essence that we've known it for a while. And so they got in trouble because they were so obsessed with this idea of aesthetic and like local core that they actually lost their way. And then instead of like coming back and kind of like repairing some of that, what they did is like they created another type of event. It's called like the living room event or something like that, something along those lines. And essentially it's just you're paying for barbecue and to hang out with people. And my friend and I were like, wait, isn't that just like friendship? Like, you're paying to be friends with people. And so that's what I'm saying. I feel like everything is curated like it's a museum. Like, our relationship, our interactions are so commodified. And so that makes sense. I think like surveillance, one of the things that it gets away from us is intimacy. I think when you feel like you're being perceived, you're being watched, your aesthetic and the material possessions you hold say something about you, you kind of start to lose intimacy. Your interaction with other people feel kind of flat, or they feel hard, like really hard, like you're not interacting with a human being. We start to moralize like interactions. So like it becomes about clout, who shows up, who's able to pay to be in these spaces. And I think it's funny because these organizations and groups and spaces are trying to build just very organic relationships. But I think what they end up doing, it actually ends up kind of losing its way and kind of losing the meaning of like being together. yeah, I just been thinking a lot about that, and it makes like things that are very organic, like human relationships and neighborhood hangout spots, something that you have to pay for to be there. And that is what capitalism does. Like, you know, it watches and behaviorally like maps what is really, really trending and was really, really very nice right now. Right now, people are obsessed with community. So it's kind of eating at people. Oh, you're really interested in being community. You're really interested in hanging out with people. How about you pay for it? And now it's aesthetic. And it's like, it also feels like very like nostalgic. They're taking these photos on like, you know, 60 millimeters and like, you know, Polaroids and stuff like that. It's like, it's this deconstructed idea of community is becoming more and more of a thing. And so people are like really interested in, like, everybody is like craving and yearning for intimacy and belonging, and yearning for something to feel like you belong and to be seen. But I think what you end up doing is like you pay $20 to go to a barbecue with people you will probably never see and you never really want to be around. And I think that's what I keep coming back to. Consequences of being surveilled in this way, for us to kind of like take it away from the empire and like say like, this is the normal way of engaging with each other. And then we start to engage the same way in community. And then we start to build these like salons and curated spaces for specific people that kind of creates a hierarchy of belonging, and nobody really actually feels like they belong anywhere. Your personal style is deconstructed, your personality and the things you care about are really deconstructed, your hobbies, your interests are deconstructed and paid for. And then eventually you have a community and, you know, a microcosm of people that don't know how to belong because it's been conditioned out of us. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. And it all started because I was thinking about hair, and I was thinking about like coming on the internet with not done hair, whatever that means. But yeah, this is the hair that grows out of my head. And it's very rough and dry and oily right now, all at the same time, the contradictions. And I have a light that is my winter light that I use as a filming light. And then I have my pajama that I still haven't changed, but I have a meeting. So I look like I am ready to have a meeting. That's why I have my glasses. That's all. What have you been thinking about? Like, am I losing my mind, or is this correct?